Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. Today is the day that we talk tech in easy to understand ways. And we always like to get started with this week in tech history and things to happen in future tech. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Miss Francine Gregory. Hey, Fran, how you doing?
I am well. How's everybody doing?
All is
Uh,
well.
yeah, so we have tech history happening. Um, yeah, tech history is happening, people. Let's see what went on during the week, and then I will. Oh, yay! This is good.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to start with some space stuff. July 20th, 1969, Eagle, the Apollo 11 lunar module, successfully lands in the area of the moon known as the Sea of Tranquility. Upon landing, Neil Armstrong utters the now famous phrase, "The Eagle has landed." About 6 hours later, while setting foot on the moon, he utters a even more famous phrase, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Yeah, and anywho, there's a movie out now saying that, what is the word I want to use? Conspiracies that
Oh,
that didn't happen.
conspiracy theories. Yeah.
Yeah, that the lunar landing did not happen. But anyway, we
Okay.
shall continue. Did you want to say something about that?
No, I do not.
Okay,
Just,
because
I
that's
don't
rabbit trails that we
know
will.
conspiracy theories. That's all.
July  21st, 1999, Apple introduces the iBook laptop,
Oh,
the first mainstream computer designed and sold with built-in wireless networking.
wow. So the first Apple laptop was 1999?
iBook laptop.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first mainstream computer designed and sold with built-in wireless networking.
Wow.
It's the clamshell one, the blue one,
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay.
right? And it looks pretty much like a MacBook Air, and except for it has this blue shell, and I can show you the picture if you like. And all of our stories are coming compliments of Marcel Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tech enthusiast. So we want to give a shout out and a thank you to him
Hey,
for
Marshall. Thank you.
this tech history
For
that he has
work.
compiled.
Yep.
He has compiled some tech history. So, oh, I was like, wait, what happened? Because I'm over here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where's the share button?
Good morning, everyone.
Hmm.
Live and on the replay.
All right. So this is what that looks like. Can you see that?
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, the whole little,
I always thought that was the prettiest color.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, the laptops from Apple still kind of look like this, except for the shell is
Well,
now.
well, they're not rounded. You know what I mean? Like it sort of had. It actually looked more like a clam.
It did,
And
but what I meant was, it. If you look at the keys
yeah,
and the trackpad and everything, it is pretty much the same as a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro or whatever. It's still a MacBook.
yes,
Instead of it being an iBook, it's a MacBook.
yes, I like it.
But it was sold with built-in wireless networking. That part.
So it was portable. Is that what I hear you saying?
And you could, you know how you connect to the internet right now? When you try connecting to the internet using a PC that is not Mac based, it's a little difficult. to
Mhm.
find you got to go into network settings and do some stuff. This had built-in wireless networking.
Gotcha. Okay, so you could just pick your Wi-Fi like we do now.
Yeah,
Mhm. And
so
select your
much
Wi-Fi.
easier.
Okay. Wow,
Right.
that's a big difference.
Okay. So July 22nd, 1980, representative from an IBM facility in Boca Raton, Florida, met. They were secretly developing the IBM PC, and they met with Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer of Microsoft to
Mhm.
discuss licensing software. By the way, Steve Ballmer just built the Clippers Stadium in
Oh,
Los Angeles,
wow.
and it is said to be um, awe-inspiring,
Oh.
just so you know. Um, and not having an operating system to offer IBM, Microsoft will eventually buy the rights to DOS 86 from Seattle Computing Products, which they then in turn licensed to IBM. So they brokered a deal, became, they bought it or they licensed it and then turned around and then licensed it to IBM
Mm.
because they did not have their own operating system.
Oh,
Mhm.
got
And then, huh?
gotcha. Go ahead.
And then later they licensed it to PC clone makers as MS-DOS.
Oh, okay.
And this alliance between IBM and Microsoft forms one of the most dominant platforms in the history of computing, which goes on to crush nearly all other PC platforms in the 80s and 90s.
Mm.
Ironically, this platform nearly crushes IBM as they lost control of the platform to PC clone makers and Microsoft. Everybody had a PC. Dell. Who else was out there?
Oh,
HP. Everybody had a computer. You can
mhm.
buy any kind of computer, and PC is still that way today. There's Dell, there's Lenovo, there's so many different Acer. All of them, they run on uh, Microsoft's software.
Mm.
July 23rd, 1903, Ford sells its first Model A car to Ernest Fenning of Chicago, Illinois. This was Henry Ford's third attempt at creating a company that manufactured cars, incorporating just over a month earlier. The initial investment was $28,000, and it was now down to $300 before this first Model A was sold. However, it was the Model T that solidified Ford's standing in automotive history.
Mhm.
So, did he have like models A through T?
Probably
Be
because
kept trying to
to refine it
right.
and to get it where it was what would you call it? Marketable to the average individual. I don't know what they call that. There's a
Um,
term for it.
um, oh
Mass
my good,
marketing, available for mass marketing.
right. And for the masses, right.
Mhm.
So, the initial $28,000 investment was down to $300.
And I think that's because didn't he get a bunch of like 4 or 5 millionaires to invest,
Yeah,
and
he did.
mhm, and that's how he came up with the initial things to get it running. But the price of the Model T, I guess, came down to $300. $300 was not picked up in the street in 1903.
Yeah,
Okay. So it was still, pricey, but it was within range of a lot of people who were doing well.
right. And the everyday person did not have a car. They were still with the buggy and the horse
Mm-hmm.
or the mule. All right, we're moving on to the Commodore Amiga is a personal computer. also known as the Amiga 1000 or A1000, featuring a multitasking windowed operating system,
Hmm.
color graphics, and stereo sound,
Whoa. Color
among other
graphics.
features that was ahead of its time. The Amiga developed a loyal user following that remained strong even as the PC market became increasingly consolidated between the dominant IBM compatible PCs and Apple's Macintosh computers.
Mm.
Byte magazine in 1994 states that Amiga was so far ahead of its time that almost nobody, including Commodore's marketing department, could fully articulate what it was all about.
Mm.
Today, it's obvious the Amiga was the first multimedia computer, but in those days, it was derided as a game machine because few people grasped the importance of advanced graphics, sound, and video.
Mm.
Okay, we would not be doing what we are doing right now using StreamYard if these
If it were
people
not for
had not done
those
this.
graphic cards and their development to carry more and more data. Hmm.
Right. And these people were ahead of the game. Everybody was like, "Oh, who needs all that?" Apparently, we do.
And maybe that is the problem. When you are creating things, a lot of times the world is not ready, can't figure out what the practical application is for everyday life. And
Correct.
so as a result, you feel like you didn't achieve anything great, when in fact, because it's the initial effort, a lot of
Yep.
times it's overlooked. So people
Right.
don't be confused by whether or not your genius is accepted by everyone.
Yeah, because you don't know.
They don't, and they don't
um,
know. They've never seen it before. They don't know
they
what you've been
they
doing
and
before.
so people are, when it's not familiar. Oh, that's that newfangled thing. Okay.
Newfangled, yes, basically.
Right. So July 24th, 1950, the first successful rocket launch occurs at Cape Canaveral. The rocket, Bumper 8, was a captured German V-2 modified with a U.S. Army Corporal second stage. Cape Canaveral's location in the southeast is an ideal site for the rocket in the United States. And by launching eastward, rockets are able to take advantage of the linear velocity of the Earth's rotation. This
Hmm.
velocity is greatest toward the equator, making the southern United States preferable, and by launching towards the ocean away from populated areas.
That's a good idea.
Mhm. So, yeah, they kept everybody safe. Um, okay. So Sirius and XM merger was approved July 25th, 2008. The FCC approves the merger of the two satellite radio company, Sirius and XM.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And the world's first geosynchronous satellite, July 26, 1963, CENTCOM 2 is launched. CENTCOM 1 was intended to be the first, but an electronics failure rendered the satellite inoperable during the ascent to orbit.
Mm.
Mm. That's tech in history. Let's see what tech is making some history. Let me see. I saw something. Oh, in a sweeping action earlier this month, the Federal Communications Commission lowered the cost of jail and prison communications across the country. For the first time, capping prices on video calls alongside phone calls. The move marks a watershed moment for advocates and the families of incarcerated people who have long lobbied for reining in the rates charged by the small number of communications companies that effectively hold monopolies at the correctional and detention centers.
Oh, so what? So what happens? you make the lowest bid, you get the contract, and then you charge the families outrageous prices.
Right.
Wow.
The commission outlined the new rates in a July 18 press release explaining that call rates will be 6 cents per minute for prisons and large jails, 7 cents per for medium jails, and 9 cent for small jails, and 12 cents for very small jails, and as low as 11 cents per minute for video calls, with the
Oh,
requirement that per minute rates be offered.
wow.
Okay, so we get to use our cell phone with unlimited data and stuff. What is the deal? Why are they still paying per minute?
I don't know why they're paying for minutes, but maybe it's because they allege that, security has to be triple doubled. I don't know. I don't know, but for some reason they I think it's because they are able to get the contract, and once they get the contract, because they're a third party, the government's not concerned about what they are charging the user.
Mm, okay. This is an interesting story. A low band
Should we
version
take
of
this down? Should we take down
oh
the I can
yeah.
remove it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Is it gone?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. So, a low band version of TikTok that's primarily available to Android users outside the US and Europe might save battery life, but it also lacks basic user protections, according to some research from Mozilla and AI Forensics.
Hmm.
The internet nonprofit and algorithm watchdog found that TikTok Lite, a mini version of the flagship app meant to require less robust connectivity, doesn't include features like content filtering, warning labels, and screen time controls that can help curb misinformation and tech addiction. TikTok Lite accounts for almost half the platform's global user base, but gives users less control over what they see and no warnings about content that might be harmful, dangerous, or offensive. TikTok's bite sized Lite app is a safety hazard for more than 1 billion of its users. It's the equivalent of removing seatbelts and airbags from a car and then selling it to an unsuspecting customer. That's what
Wow.
they say.
That's a very graphic analogy.
Mhm. I'm like, wow, okay, let's see what else. Let me see if I got anything in here. I saw something come across. And oh, okay. Okay, so Rivian, which is an electric vehicle company, is planning on adding EV charging near Yosemite National Park entrances. I think that's smart because you
I
got to
think
drive
that's
all.
why she got a bunch of people stuck out in the woods with no charging stations. That's not a cute look.
No, just because you're unplugging doesn't mean your car has to. Um, that and so it'll be the first of its kind with a charging outpost that will electrify the east and west entrances of the California park.
This is good.
This is very good. And if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken, the Rivian charging, you could any other car people can put an adapter on and be able
Okay.
to use that. So you can go up. Yeah, they're looking to put in fast charging adventure network, which will be open to non-Rivian EVs later this year, and is slated to include 3,500 plus chargers at approximately 600 initial sites along popular routes and highways, according to the company. So if you're going out into the wild and the wilderness, you can still charge your car.
Praise God. That's a good thing.
Right.
And also it gives you the ability to vacation, to consider other places when you're thinking vacation, because if you're using a vehicle, it's all about being able to power the vehicle.
Right. And it's good for the economy, it's good for the environment,
Mm-hmm.
but you still need to be able to go somewhere.
Yes.
So, and I think it's good. Um, so that's your week in tech history,
All righty,
tech
tighty.
making history. What you got for us, Terry?
Mystery. Very good. Well, let me share a few stories with you, Fran. I think the first thing I want to talk about is Netflix. Let's see here. Seems that Netflix is changing some of its pricing. So
Mm-mm.
let's see if we can get this little thing here going here. Let's see. They're changing their pricing. Let's bring this down. Let's see if I can get. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. That's Michelle. No, wrong. Let's go back. I thought I had it queued, but I guess it got tired of waiting on me. Okay, here we go. This is the guy right here.
Back him up. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna back him up, and I'm
And
going to.
make him a little, yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
And let me turn his sound
To
on.
phase out its least expensive ad-free plan, and subscribers, they have some choices to make now. Those are the ad-free plans, which cost $12 a month. They're receiving notifications now to change plans by July 13th. Users can switch to the ad-supported tier for $7 or the ad-free tier for $15.49 a month. Netflix also offers an ad-free plan with 4K video for $23 a month. The streaming service reports more than 40 million users are on its ad-supported plan as of May.
So back to them. They are getting rid of the 11.99 no ads. You're muted.
Yes, and going to the 15.99. So your choice is you, and they're raising the regular price from 6.99 to 7.99 for with ads, and then they're going to give you a choice to go adless at 15.99. Evidently, enough people did. There wasn't a big enough difference. People like, no, I'll just watch a few ads. Evidently, so in order to encourage that, they got rid of that option and gonna make you jump to the 15.99.
So they're just going to take away what I have.
Yes, and you're going to get an email. You might want to check your email because it was supposed to come out the 18th, according to this news report. I didn't. If it did, I didn't pay any attention to it. Saying that they're going to charge me an extra dollar if I have the ads, and that if you have the 11, you got to go to the 15.
Dr. Tachi, were you aware of this holdup?
Netflix wonderfulness.
Wait, Netflix, and are we talking about Netflix and their donation, or are we?
Oh no, not a donation. They this sound like a stick up, but
Oh, okay, okay.
They're taking away the 11.99 with ad option
Yes, 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 yes. I did hear about that. I did hear about that.
and
I
going straight
thought,
to the 15.99 option.
okay, yes. So I thought you were talking about the $7 million donation they just made
Oh no, what donation was that? I,
to the Harris campaign.
yes.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, yes. I was hoping that's what you would say.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought that's what. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
So, well, they're trying to make it. Well, that's where they're getting it from. They're
That's where they're
taking.
getting it from.
And giving us our money. I don't mind. I'm good with that. Okay.
They're just go like, okay, we'll just pull that from there.
And make this what do you call it? Tax tax deductible donation over here. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the
Well,
other,
now
yeah,
I gotta see what am I paying. I don't have ads
you
right
got to
at this
check
moment.
your email to see what they sent you to ask you
Okay.
about this. Um, Also, I wanted to share this real quick, uh, which maybe you may find interesting. Can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's this morning. Let's go to the video. This video is actually video we're seeing for the first time because it literally just came into the newsroom.
Oh, cool.
This is going into the Olympic Village right now. The torch is being carried, and you see it by none other than Snoop Dogg from the LBC all the way to Paris here at the Olympics. Who would have predicted that? He's such
So
a great
many
ambassador. I know so many jokes there with the torch and everything else, but
Yeah.
that's for tonight. But
Light
we're
it up, Snoop.
so proud of Snoop there. He's been such a great fan and sort of cheerleader for Team USA and us here at NBC. It's been so great. There are so many stars all over the village and all over Paris right now that are in town for the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
It's such a magical time in a magical city.
There was a gathering last night, and Snoop was there, and like Steven Spielberg, Charlize Theron. The line for Snoop, like for everyone to come up, including the celebs, all won a
And
little
he's so
time. with
tall, so
and
everyone just goes.
Yeah, it was really sweet,
Yeah.
really sweet.
Yeah,
All
always
right.
carrying that torch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
All right.
go.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
This is. Oh, sorry, Terry. You're muted.
I'm sorry, Snoop was in on the Olympics, so there you go. Everybody's getting in on the game.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it started today, or was that yesterday?
It started yesterday, because in order to get some of the so many teams into some of these different competitions, and they have to have rest days in between. I think it's 3 days between every 2 matches or something. So they needed an extra day. So they started yesterday.
Oh.
And it's on and running. I'm interested in the fact that this morning they had a little incident with the trains. Someone set off something. And so now train service was interrupted, and a couple of the trains that were carrying the teams were delayed. So it's good. Just stay posted, people, because stuff is happening at the Olympics that could affect.
Okay, yeah. And this is a big target too. You know what I mean? Because in history, there has been things that happened at the Olympics that were not cool.
Yep, and there's several wars going on around the world. We may be familiar with 2, but there are many in different hotspots. The other thing I wanted to say is, they're going for the first time. I don't know if it's the first or the second time in history. They're going to go down the Seine River instead of having a ground parade. They're floating the people in, all the athletes on a flotilla down the Seine River in open boats. And I'm like, okay. So, but I'm not in charge of security, especially after all the wonderfulness we've been through in America. I'm just saying. So with that's what I wanted to share. Oh,
Okay.
yes, that's what I wanted to share. And, they've been saying that some people are, I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole this morning, but I'm excited. And I'm going
Dr. Tachi will bring us into
Yeah,
that a little later.
and I don't want, I'm going to leave some room for wonderfulness.
So TJ sent us her story. I
Okay.
was so proud of TJ because we are actually using the tech that we tell you about.
Okay.
So let's just hear from Miss TJ right now. Stand by.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna go like that. Can you hear?
Meta AI gets new Imagine Me selfie feature. Meta AI, Meta's AI-powered assistant across Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and the web can now speak in more languages and create stylized selfies. Now, Meta AI users can route questions to Meta's newest flagship AI model, Llama 3.1405B, which the company says can handle more complex queries than the previous model. The model, called Imagine Yourself, creates images based on a photo of a person and a prompt like imagine me surfing or imagine me on a beach vacation. Available in beta, Imagine Yourself can be invoked in Meta AI by typing Imagine Me, followed by anything that isn't NSFW.
not safe for work.
YouTube adds option to save music from shorts. YouTube will now enable creators to save music from the shorts feed so that you can reuse shorts audio in different applications. Now you'll be able to save music direct from the shorts UI, which will then add that audio to your chosen sounds folder. OpenAI unveils Search GPT. The company has unveiled Search GPT, a search feature designed to give timely answers to questions drawing from web sources. UI-wise, Search GPT is similar to OpenAI's chatbot platform, ChatGPT. You type in a query and Search GPT serves up information and photos from the web along with links to relevant sources, at which point you can ask follow-up questions or explore additional related searches in a sidebar. That's it for this week in social media news.
No offense, but if you still think stocks, real estate, or crypto are
For some reason, I got kicked out, but what I saw, I enjoyed.
TJ did a really good job with that story, her stories.
Congratulations, TJ.
And yes, you know, I asked, is that live or is that Memorex?
Yep, it was definitely her voice. It was well done.
Right. And I was like, ooh, what we can do is really good, especially if you have to be somewhere else, you can still do your thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, Dr. Tachi, are you back in the room? Are you with us? Or are you?
Or should we run I got a little something I can share. Let's see.
Okay,
I can find it. Hold on. As soon as this ad finishes, I should be able to share this. I wanted to talk about diversity, inclusion, and equity. Is she back?
She's back. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Dr. Tachi?
You ready?
Yes.
You have Lord.
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are fantastic. I don't know why I would say good morning after we've already started talking, but I feel like I need that introduction. Now, you all were talking about the Paris Olympics, and there's a lot going on now. Listen, if ever there was a news cycle that was a news cycle, it is this summer. This summer is the news cycle of all news cycles.
Say
seriously. I mean, so one thing that I watch in the morning is the Morning Brew. The Morning Brew on YouTube, and they have a lot of different types of stories, mostly like, tech and media focused and some other things. Also, I watch Cord Cutter's News, which both of those are daily. So if you all are interested in kind of what's happening and what's going on in certain things, those are two great resources, The Morning Brew and Cord Cutter's News on YouTube. Listen, I mean, the fact that there's a whole Cord Cutter's News lets you know that you could get everything you need from YouTube. So I was watching The Morning Brew this morning, and they were talking about that a perfect time for the trains to be down in Paris. So what has happened is apparently there was some arsons that were purposely set that have shut down, is it 3 of the lines? So this is not a good time for that to happen, for people trying to get into Paris for the opening ceremonies tonight. But also, and this is an unusual summer because, again, it's the Olympics, but typically this is the time of year that Parisians go to the countryside. End of July, August, this is when they usually go and spend some time, get out of Paris, and basically this time is when there are a lot of tourists there. Have either of you ever been to Paris? Yeah,
I have not had the opportunity, but I'm looking forward to it.
I have not either. I've been to Europe, but I have not. My mother lived in Europe for a long time, so but I have not been to Paris. So, but I've heard, it is a city. It is congested. It can be dirty.
It's in New York.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm used to New York filth.
Mhm.
Parisian filth is, I'm sure, on a whole other level. But anyway, I'm sure it's a lovely city, and yeah, it's someplace at some point I would like to visit. But that's what's going on there. That's a little bit of a tech thing. So it will be remains to be seen how that will affect attendance if people, for example, are staying outside of Paris, because you can imagine it's going to be so expensive to stay in Paris during this time. So some people may have been looking at, for example, Airbnbs and other places outside of the city limits to cut down on costs. And now you're trying to get in, and this could be a thing. So we'll see what that happens. But as you said, the opening ceremonies are tonight. I am going to watch. I always watch the Olympic opening ceremonies. The Summer Olympics are really the only Olympics I care about. They're only summer and winter, but I am a summer girl, so I tend to sway towards that. Are you all going to watch the opening ceremonies tonight, which will be on NBC?
It is definitely on my thing to do. I love the opening ceremonies. I'm praying that there's supposed to be rain, and for this flotilla thing, I guess I don't know if it's different from when they actually get to the stadium, because they're floating down the Seine, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if they float from the Seine and then walk into the stadium. I don't know how they.
I
What
have
the process.
no clue.
So yeah, I hope it's definitely on my list of things to do. And I love the fact that Kobe Bryant and Coco are carrying our flags. I'm like, um,
Yes. It's
Coco is a tennis star, a black
Right.
female tennis star. And
yes.
Kobe Bryant, am I correct?
Not Bryant.
No.
Who is
You're
it?
talking LeBron James.
LeBron James is going to be carrying that flag, and so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it.
It's a huge honor to be asked to be the flag bearer, and also if you're one of the lucky ones carrying the torch, it is also an honor. So this is a big time of year. This is the one time, or big time of every 4 years, I should say. This is the one time where you see sportsmanship, or sportspersonship, I should say, and camaraderie amongst the entire world, if at no other time you see that. But here's the other interesting thing that they were talking about on Morning Brew, that they have already caught a cheating scandal.
What?
So the Canadian volleyball team was caught with using a drone.
Yeah, what was that about?
Against the opposing team. Yes. So they were flying a drone over the opposing team's practice. I don't remember which country the opposing team is. So
to see what was going on with their practices?
To see what their moves, their strategy.
Oh, wow.
So we could say, okay, well, it could just be a drone, but they've been caught doing this before. The Canadian team, these same people have been caught doing this before.
No.
So they've been sent back to Canada, packing back to the tundra. They said, you can go. So was it the head coach? And there were 3 individuals, I believe, that were sent back. So yeah, that's another thing that's going on.
Okay, so this is 2024. How do you think you were going to get away with that?
I have no idea. And everybody's taking pictures.
And have ye so little faith in your team that you don't think they can win on their own? And mind you, they're right now like the reigning champions. So I'm like, do you not, or did you get there through debauchery? So if this is what you do, are you really the rightful? And I'm not taking anything away from the young ladies, but my thing is like, all right, well, this calls everything else you've done into question if this is something that you've done more than once. And if you've done this more than once, why do you have so little faith in the ability of your players that they are playing for your team? You're supposed to pick the best of the best. I mean, I just find it despicable.
What's really upsetting is the kids. When the kids have to suffer, this humiliation because the coach and other geniuses decided they needed more intel. You know what I mean? I just find it so disheartening for the team members who are not really in on what's going on with all this wonderfulness.
Absolutely.
And they work so hard to get there.
They worked very hard to get there.
It's New Zealand. New Zealand complained.
It was New Zealand. Yes. Okay. That's it. I couldn't remember. Thank you.
I couldn't either. I saw it this morning when they were talking about the trains.
So what happens to honor and sportsmanship? Didn't we learn all that somewhere?
But we've also been hearing the teachings that there is no honor in defeat either. So when you start going down that path, you do any and everything to win. It's really the antithesis of what sports is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a match of the best when it comes to physical and mental skill, right? By doing these things, you're saying, all of you that play for this team, you have none of it. So what I'm going to do is take pictures of the opposing side and tell you what they're going to do, because you people can't win any other way. I would be livid if you thought that's small of me or that little of me that you had to cheat.
Okay, so here's the thing. I played volleyball. What strategies are you going to get, because the ball's coming across the net? There are certain things that, and the person that trained our team was an Olympic. She was Olympic. She played in the Olympics. So, okay. I'm thinking, what strategies is there besides the way you fall, hit? It can't.
Francine, I said the same thing. I said, well, that is an exercise in futility, because what the hell are you going to learn from flying? Oh, that this person has a ball. Now, maybe you can see who the stronger players are. That's the extent, but there's no strategy when it comes to that. It's purely only chance. And I'm not a volleyball player like you, but I did play volleyball. And from my recollection, I'm like, I can't see where you would get anything from this. That is tantamount to trying to get secrets from a dodgeball team or a kickball team. And that's what I love about those games. It's in the moment. There's no strategy. You either have to be fast, quick, swift, have good eyes, or whatever. There's no strategy per se. So I'm
clueless what kind of intel you're going to get.
And so you were willing to risk at the highest pinnacle of matchups in the world. You were willing to risk your team quite possibly being eliminated, or what's the word for it? Excommunicated.
Disqualified.
That's it. Disqualified, not but excommunicated, basically. Okay. Excommunicated from the Olympics. You are willing to risk that for something that doesn't even really have a plan? You deserve whatever gets to you when you get back to Canada. And now you have shamed your country. How very dare you?
Wow. And that
is not cute.
No, and I'm with Sherry on the fact that the student or the players can now not participate because of some stupidity of the coaches.
Well, the players are going to participate, but they're under a cloud, because they're going to be allowed to participate with the what do you call it, the second coach, the acting coach, whoever was under.
Oh, so they still get to play.
They get to play, thank goodness. Because can you imagine working for 4 years on something, and then someone says, because so and so made a decision, y'all can't play?
Ooh,
you talk about some angry parents.
This what is this, a Lifetime movie plot? I was like, what?
Yep, like an ice skating. Remember ice skating? Yeah, well, anyway.
Oh, that was interesting. Now, how you just go? Okay, there have been things that happened in history with the Olympics. I'm like, wow.
And now this whole thing with the train, I don't know who that's going to affect, because if you're going through the anxiety of being taken off of a train because of a potential arson issue, that will raise your anxiety. You're already, hyped up.
And I think it also speaks to the fact of these could be purely coincidental, but things like this have happened at the Olympics all the time. There are always incidents like this that have happened. And so there needs to definitely be heightened security when it comes to these things. And I'm not saying there's not, but it feels like because for the last few Olympics, there have been, if there were, we didn't know about the minimal incidents, or if at all. I think there's kind of been like a relaxing when it comes to those things, and that's not the time to relax.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I found those things to be quite interesting. Since you were talking about that, I wanted to bring this up. Now, first thing, I know we do not do politics here, just like I don't do politics on Mediascope, but I said this on Mediascope that I bring up things as it's related to media, and that includes some things that may be political. So it's not necessarily looking at it for what it is, but looking at its effect on media. So let's talk about this whole invigoration that many in the US have, because Kamala Harris is now the presumptive nominee for the presidential seat, right?
Yes.
So there has been a lot, and I find it interesting. This is a great study in this type of thing. And I was watching some things this morning, and number one, it calls into question whether or not political campaigns need to be as long as they are. For us, it's generally like 2 years, right? But you see,
Yes.
we're like now exactly 100 days out,
100
and what has
days from
happened?
Sunday.
Yes. So does it need to be? Do you need to have this amount of time? So I think it calls into question the processes when it comes to things. I think many of us have just been doing it because that's what is done. But this shows that you don't have to do things this way. So even though a lot of people were apprehensive about it being this late in the game, to the contrary, I think it ended up working well in this case, right? So that's one thing. Number two,
the money came in.
yes, the money came well, and that's the next thing that I want to talk about. So it started with the there were a number of calls and live streams that lots of different groups have come together on this. So the first one was the Win with Black Women. They had their call last week, which I was on.
Oh, good.
Yes. I can't stand politics, but I'm very interested in the whole process of things, particularly when it affects me. So, but I'm also a journalist, and even though this call, it was off the record to journalists, so I did not cover it as a journalist, but I still wanted to be there. That call, that Zoom call, first of all, the first Zoom broke because so many people wanted to.
Okay, it did. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was saying there's no way they can fit that many people. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So then with the help of Zoom, we were able to have 44,000 women on that call. And during that call, was it 1.3 million was raised in 3 hours? Okay. The next day, Roland Martin, who we all know from the Black Star Network, former CNN correspondent, former TV One correspondent, now has his own network called the Black Star Network, and he does Roland Martin. I think it's unfiltered. Roland Martin.
Oh, wow. That's something you need to watch.
Yeah, he does it on a daily basis, and it is broadcast across similar to like what we do with Indie Soup.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's on YouTube, he's on Facebook, he's on Twitch, I think, a whole bunch of social platforms, and I believe they have an app. So he broadcasts daily, several times a day, as a news person does. And he took up the call. He was talking with some people, and the Black men said, "We want to do the same thing. Let's do it." So this time, not only did they have the Zoom but Roland Martin was at the Heat. They did it on his network, and it was broadcast on YouTube. So I watched the YouTube. So YouTube had about 13,000 people watching, plus the 50,000 men that were in there. So together, or was it like, I can't remember how many were in there, but added together the YouTube. So we were able to see. So I was able to see that. So now it has spread to all these different events. On Sunday, they're doing one for Gen Z. White women for Kamala Harris did one last night. The Hispanic women, I believe, are doing one. And there's also white men against the former president that are doing one. So
I was excited that she actually stopped at the Boule. I was like,
yes, she was, and she was at your Boule.
Look, I got to go meet with the Prime Minister of Israel, y'all. I'll check you later. She actually came to the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated Boule, and I said, yes.
Yes, and for those of you who do not know, Carolina is a proud card-carrying member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
I was like, yes, girl. Hey, the blue is in, girl.
Well, this is an important thing. Again, not to get so political, but again, this is the power of what media is able to do. When we're able to see these things. So the whole D9, and for those who don't know, though, that is the Divine Nine, which are comprised of the 9 historically Black fraternities and sororities. They are all in. The D9 have, if I'm not mistaken, they have all pledged support for this thing.
Yes, the Panhellenic Council we're in.
Exactly. So the Panhellenic Council comprises all of the D9. I've seen even to the memes and things that are on social media. There was one that was a Delta that, and the AKAs. Kamala Harris is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and every fraternity and sorority has their quote song that they do a party walk or a stroll to. And so the AKAs is set it off. So I saw a meme where there was a Delta, a woman with her jacket, her Delta jacket on, and Set It Off was playing, and the tagline was me regulating, making sure everything is okay while the AKAs do their stroll on inauguration day. So she was like, I will use elbows if I have to. So it's just an interesting thing to see the support across all of these organizations behind something. And it shows that it's something larger than you as an individual, larger than you as a member of whatever colors you wear, whatever school you went to. It's something bigger than all of that. It's about democracy, right? And so that's what has been communicated through what I've seen in social media, through what I've seen in the media, because even it's not just quote Democrats. There are even big Republicans, people that are Republicans that are also that have been Republican lawmakers coming out in support. So it goes to show you when there is a perceived threat that people will go into action. And we're getting to see all of this play out on social media. And if you've seen some of these, they've gotten really deep into the woods with their campaign already. That if you see all over social media and on television, I think the ads for the Harris campaign, Beyonce has given permission for Kamala Harris's campaign to use the song Freedom. Which is interesting. This is like a stark what is the comparison, right, to the other side and the Trump campaign, where the opposition to showing that dichotomy, if you will, showing companies that are using cease and desists so that they don't play songs and they don't do things, because it is, if we have look at this as a brand, it is very bad for business. I think it was with so the vice presidential nominee on the other side, I can't remember his name. You know, Vance. So there was something that, and I haven't seen it, but they were talking about it on program this morning, something with Mountain Dew.
Oh yes, he says that that their opposition declares anything they say to be racist or or sexist, and he had a Mountain Dew, and he's sure that they'll say that that was racist or sexist. And okay,
Well, apparently
everybody laughed. It was supposed to be a joke.
it was supposed to be a joke, but Mountain Dew wasn't laughing
I know
because
they weren't. I know they.
here's the thing. That is, we're thinking about branding, right? And let's think
Mhm.
about Mountain Dew and branding. If Terry was here, she would love all of this.
Mhm.
So let's think about that. It has an image, brand wise and media, of course, being high in sugar, being high in caffeine, and also being the drink of choice of the illiterate and degenerates.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about the joke is always hillbillies drinking Mountain Dew
Well,
and things like
his
that.
whole thing is the hillbilly elegy or whatever it is, his book.
Yes.
So he claims to be, an authentic
Exactly.
hillbilly. So.
Exactly. But see, then that's also connected with some deplorable things like racism, like sexism, like not
Incest.
being very bright. No, you're right. Like incest, like not being very bright, like
Incest,
being
shotguns, roadkill.
exactly eating anything, being quick to shoot, being almost subhuman. Being almost subhuman. And we know that is not the case for everybody that lives like in the Ozarks, the Appalachian. We know that's not the case, but that is the stereotype that he is perpetuating and that has been perpetuated. Mountain Dew, if you are a drink or a brand worth your weight, you don't want to be associated with anything that could
And
be
that's a
perceived
very
as
small
negative.
part of the population.
It's a very small part of the population, but it seems to be the side that is the loudest when it comes to the other side.
Well,
right?
we do have a comment here.
Okay, go ahead.
One up says, I'm looking forward to hearing her agenda. I will never vote for a racist bigot, so she has my vote already. But I want to learn more about her and her platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's fair. I think, though, the overwhelming majority of people that are looking that way are like, vote first, ask questions later, because of the perceived threat. So I think that's what's happening.
I hope she says, "Oh, and first time listener." Well, welcome, one up. You ladies are beautiful, enjoying the conversation. I hope you are. And if you want to know more about our platform, she spoke to the Teachers Federation, American Federation of Teachers yesterday, and it's sort of like a summary of the things that are on our platform. So you could see that on YouTube.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody should do research. I think part of the thing that has gotten us to the point where we are now is that there's a lot of misinformation that is floating around. There is just in general, right? Just in general. This is why I always tell people, you listen, before you share something, have you verified it against at least 3 sources? Generally, when you find agreement across things, there's a pretty good chance that it's true. So I always tell people, look for agreement, look for good sources that show some sort of agreement. If it's out there, that's why, I like to share on Mediascope when somebody passes away, but I don't do it immediately. I wait until I see a majority of publications have said, yes, this is the case, because it is better to be right than to be first.
Right.
I agree with that.
So I didn't want to turn this into a political conversation.
No, because that's not what we do.
That's not what we do.
But
go ahead.
I was amazed at how they managed to call Zoom and get them to expand that so that 44,000 people could get on a call. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, but I think that is also important for Zoom as a brand, because they also have to show that we can handle this level of thing, right? They're also in business. Let's be clear, they're in business. So they need to be able to show, and going back, the pandemic showed us the importance of needing to have platforms that on which we could communicate
Yes.
to many people, right? And not just
Mm-hmm.
from one to many, but many to many. So I think
Mhm.
Zoom and platforms like that have a real role to play here past the pandemic. They have to prove, okay, was it just a pandemic thing you were ready for, or are you ready for this? So the fact that they were able to jump in when things kind of, oh, we have no more room, let's fix it. That is a testament to them. And people are going to be looking to Zoom for, I have an event, this is going to be able to do this. So, and I think it won't just be Zoom. I think everybody will be beefing up their technology for these types of things, because we've been saying, like, all of us, we've been saying this is the wave of the future. But I think now people are really seeing, oh, okay, so this is what you meant.
And it has impact. Yes.
I go ahead, Terry.
Go ahead, Fran. Go ahead,
I
Fran.
was going to say, I noticed that a lot of ads, I guess, on TikTok. There was a lot coming out on TikTok. I'm not sure about Instagram, but I just saw stuff popping up, and I was like, oh, and they were good.
Oh,
You know what I
good.
mean?
Mhm.
And so they're reaching the younger audience. And when President Biden made his
Your
reason for stepping aside
Uh-huh.
is to allow a younger,
To pass the torch. Huh?
right. And so that means, because the young people will counsel you in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't like just having a choice between two people in their 80s. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, there's going to be some deterioration. I mean, just physically. Come on now.
Right. And so I
It's a
just
very
thought,
demanding job.
I thought that, the TikTok and them reaching out toward the younger generation to include them and to, get them involved
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Yep. And you're going to see a lot of different memes now. Am I correct, Dr. Tachi?
You are correct. It's happening as we speak. It is definitely happening, and this is going to be so interesting to be um for anybody who's in the classroom, whether it's K through 12 or college classrooms, to study this from all sorts of angles. And then particularly for us in communication, from a media angle, looking at these things. And I don't know if you've heard, but there have been, complaints coming in recent months about the media when it comes to the coverage. And I hate the term the media, because there are several media outlets. And when people lump it together, the assumption is that everyone in media thinks the same way, and that is not true. So there have been they've levied allegations at media outlets that there is the coverage. They've had problems with the coverage and the way that the coverage has gone. And one way to kind of combat that, now, we love seasoned journalists who have studied to do these things. That's what they do. But sometimes we have to remember that there is not enough space on air, or even in a newspaper, or even in a magazine, or on airwaves in general for the radio, to cover what needs to be covered to everybody's specifications and liking. It just can't happen, because air is expensive. All that free it's not free. It's air. It's expensive. There is a cost associated with that. And so part of the reason for raising monies, for example, for political campaigns, is because you can't put your things on the air for free. You have to pay these stations, and it is very pricey. So, that this is interesting to look at when it comes to who covers what gets covered,
and where it gets covered.
I can't wait to see that. Now, again, I will be in October, I will be teaching, but I'm teaching film. So I'm not really going to cover any of these things unless somebody comes out with a film on this sometime soon. But yeah, so that's why I wanted to bring this up, because this is a very interesting time in media when it comes to the campaign. I think this is, I don't want to say unprecedented, but we've never really seen anything quite like this before. We've seen energy in the past, but I don't think we've seen, because it's been 6 years since somebody dropped out of the race. and they did not drop out with this little time left. And so it's unprecedented in the fact that this has not happened before, and now media has to adjust to this. Yeah, so that's what's happening there. Let's talk some other things, shall we? Let's talk about Inside Out 2 is now the highest grossing animated movie of all time. It has surpassed Frozen 2. So I know both of you have kids and grandkids, so you may know about Inside Out 2. So it's from Disney Pixar. As I said, the highest grossing animated movie of all time, surpassing Frozen 2. Whoever thought anything could surpass Frozen? But
I didn't. That's
now the cool thing about this for them is that it comes after a series of theatrical hits and misses from Pixar, Disney. And you know, this is the interesting thing, because this goes along with when we talk about hits or misses. There was an article, and also was the article in the Wall Street Journal? No, Business Insider, but it was behind a paywall, so I couldn't get to it. So, and you know, I don't pay for things, but there was a video on YouTube talking about the same thing, that Disney has a kid problem. They have a kid problem because most kids are watching YouTube. So when we look at the series of hits or misses, this closely aligns with the fact of Disney's, quote, kid problem. Now, they have plenty of adults because Star Wars, because Marvel, because of, you know, I'm an adult and I have children and I want them to see Snow White like I did. I want them to see some Disney Vault things. So you have that. They're subscribing to Disney Plus, etc., right? So adults, they're fine with. But at its heart, what is Disney? It is a kids company. It's an entertainment company, but it started with bringing in kids, and they don't have much of that anymore because YouTube is so darn entertaining. And why do I need to pay for entertainment for something that the kids, I don't know. I don't have small kids, so I don't know if they really care that much about Disney like that. Or go ahead. Oh, you're on mute.
They rarely ask to see Disney unless there's something new, a new movie, a new season of something. My 9-year-old granddaughter will ask once in a while to see a movie in the evening. But for the most part, she is playing Roblox and different things with her friends on her iPad.
Exactly.
You know, that's how they, you know, remember we used to jump rope? That's how they do. They're in their own homes. And I guess it's a result of COVID too, forced them to form these small groups of friends that play together online.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do want them to go outside and touch grass at some point, right? But
Well,
this is,
yeah, she plays soccer and she's going to Madrid, so it's good.
oh, how wonderful.
But you know, if she's in the house during the summer, for the most part, if she's not at soccer practice or doing something else, Girl Scouts or whatever, then they're playing those games.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think it's another form of engagement and entertainment, and it can be fruitful, definitely. But no, I don't hear kids. Disney is like, I have this movie, and kids are like, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. That's exactly what they're like. Go ahead, Fran. Were you going to say something? Oh, okay. I thought you were putting up your finger.
I think you made her laugh.
Oh, okay. But seriously, that's what kids are saying. So that is right in line with what we're seeing with this. But they've had this hit with now Inside Out 2 being the top grossing animated film of all time. So let's talk about the numbers. On Tuesday, Inside Out 2 passed the 1.46 billion in global ticket sales, which made it the highest grossing animated feature of all time. And the box office is still going to continue to grow. It hasn't opened in Japan yet, and that's a region that contributed nearly 33 million to the 850.5 million global total of Inside Out, the first one in 2015. So we're just now waiting to see what happens in markets like Japan. So very interesting, very interesting. So let's go on. Any other comments on that?
It passed the billion mark in 19 days. I'm over here. I'm looking on CNN.
Yeah.
Billion mark.
Yeah.
Wow. Whoa.
Albeit low billion, but it did pass the billion mark. And that's a lot of money. But I don't know. I'm watching this industry to see what happens when it comes to that type of thing, because I have been saying, and you all know I've been saying this, that the entertainment industry as we know it has changed. And I think that everybody across the board is going to have to get used to making a lot less money. And really, when I say across the board, I'm talking about the executives. Okay. Part of the problem is many of these are publicly traded companies and they're beholden to the shareholders. So they're trying to bring in as much as possible. So all of these, millions and billions and trillions are not trickling down to like the actor, the average actor. Right. And we talked about this and saw this during the strike, which, by the way, is another strike. So I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
I'll talk about that in a minute. But congrats to Disney. They're going to need to replicate this success if they intend to continue to draw in young content consumers. That's all I have to say. But I don't know if they can. Not when you have, and Netflix has admitted this. I think I talked about this last week, that YouTube is a competitor. They work in synergy in some ways, right? But YouTube is a competitor. So for people to say, oh, it's just on YouTube, my friend, I don't know where you've been, but YouTube is big business. I urge you to get a YouTube channel and start to, it doesn't mean it's easy, but that's where this is the cool thing, that YouTube can behave like traditional linear television because you don't have to sign in to watch. Every other single social platform, if you consider YouTube a social platform, you have to sign in before you can participate in any of this. YouTube, you don't have to sign in to watch. Now, you can't really participate in terms of making comments and stuff. You have to have an account for that, but you can watch. And for some people, that's fine. Kids are not, signing in to watch. They don't care to make comments. They want to watch. And so that's where YouTube has a distinct advantage. And so everybody else, you need to watch YouTube. Seriously. Okay. So let's talk about Comic-Con is on. And you guys are in California, so I'm sure you've heard some news about this. Comic-Con is on, and guess what debuts today? Deadpool and Wolverine. Marvel, speaking of Marvel. So at Comic-Con, they surprised fans by doing a screening of Deadpool 3. So Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds plays Deadpool and Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, as he's been for many years. They were there to show off the movie to the 6,500 people who packed Hall H in whatever conference center that is.
San Diego, California?
Is that San Diego? Yes, it's in San Diego, but I don't know the conference center.
Okay.
That it's in, or the convention center. So it's happening now in San Diego, and this happened just yesterday, and that was at the panel for Deadpool and Wolverine, and that panel happened to be a secret screening for the new movie. I mean, that is so cool. I love that type of thing where you're going and you're getting in there for a panel and you think, yeah, you're gonna find out a little bit, and they do a screening. What? Mic drop for real. Yes. This is exactly what you need to do. And listen, they're not stupid now. This is what you do to engage fans, but you set yourself up for the next series of whatever else it is you're going to do by engaging fans, because you only create because fans are interested in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think it's a brilliant move. If I was there, I would love it. I would have loved it. Are either of you interested in seeing this film?
No, I'm. It's not something that I have on my list of things to do. But Fran is in. She says.
Fran is all in.
Okay, I am an ex fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
X-Men.
X-Men. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, let's see it. And so I watched Wolverine Origins yesterday, so I can kind of see where the story was interesting. Wolverine had a first name. I was like, oh, didn't know that. But I'm looking forward to figuring out, is this like going back in time, or is this, you know what I mean? Where are we in the story?
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I'm interested in seeing it too. Am I going to the theater to see it? I don't know. You know, I'm still kind of theater adverse. After your story, it was you, Francine, with the sticky seats. I was like, yeah, no, I don't need
to. And see, that was my whole thing. Do I really want to go to a movie theater, or do I just want to wait?
Exactly. And listen, I do miss the experience of going to a movie theater because, in my opinion, I feel like I'm still in the house. I feel like I don't go out enough. Like I need to go. So when I go out, it feels like I'm going shopping. I'm like, isn't there something else I could do? You know, but I don't know if I'm still ready to go back to the yucky Wahala.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the popcorn, you know, my son used to work in the theater, in the movie theaters. He said, don't do the popcorn.
See,
and it smells so good.
It smells good.
It smells good. And then the whole thing is the movie theater, it's like a movie theater by me that plays first run movies, but also some like independent stuff. Their popcorn is delightful. I tell your son I don't want to hear that.
But you know, this is not one of the independent type movie places. This is
like an AMC Regal or
that.
Yeah. So they're running a corporate structure, and it's probably popcorn made of sesame seeds. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was anyway.
So I think this is really interesting. And Jackman said we've been all around the world with this movie, but the icing on the cake is right here, right now, talking about Comic-Con. And the screening took place in Hall H, as I said, which apparently is huge, cavernous, as the Hollywood Reporter calls it. And this is a room where fans actually camp out overnight to enter. So those who stay there early and get there early are usually allowed to stay and secure a seat for the biggest panels. But this was not an ordinary panel, so they cleared it out ahead of time. So anybody thought they were going to get there early and get a seat, no dice, go home. And Marvel had a lottery system for tickets. So if you were lucky enough to win, you got not just the movie, you know, the panel, you also got the movie. But that, I don't know if you heard about the raunchy popcorn bucket that was a hot item. And that Deadpool creator, Rob Liefeld, was signing for fans. So you got access to that as well. So, yeah, so it opens tonight around the country. It is the biggest opening of the weekend. And their Hollywood Reporter is calling it the biggest R-rated opening weekend of all time. And they're tracking and they're suggesting a gross of anywhere from 160 to 175 million in North America. So good for you, Deadpool. Let's talk a little bit more about some, kind of superheroes along the same strain, but weird superheroes. The series The Boys on Prime Video. Has anybody watched that?
I tried watching it. I was like, I can't do it.
Listen, it's too. At the very beginning, it wasn't so bad, but it has gotten progressively more raunchy as it goes into. It's like, I don't know if I
can't
can
watch this.
I can't watch it. Again, season 1, yes, because it wasn't as bad. But then the writers were like, you know what would make this even better? Somebody exploding. I don't want to see that. But somebody did, because it had 55 million worldwide viewers, according to Amazon, for season 4. And this is going to be their last season, apparently.
Good.
Yeah. So it's the company says that 55 million people worldwide have watched at least part of the season from its June 13th premiere through July 21st. That's a span of 39 days, 3 days after the season finale began streaming. So that's a 20% increase over the viewing of season 3 in the same time frame. So, yeah, that's interesting. So, in the US, The Boys recorded the 2 biggest viewing time totals in history in the 2 weeks after the season 4 premiere, according to Nielsen, a total of almost 2.5 billion minutes. So, the full figures are not in yet because Nielsen's streaming ratings usually lag by several weeks. So, we don't have the full results yet. So interesting. So let's talk about the countries where it's going to be or where it's been. So Prime Video says that most of the audience for The Boys, about 60%, comes from outside of the US. UK, Brazil, India, Germany, Canada, France, Mexico, Spain, and Italy among the top performing territories. Well, we know it's not in the Middle East. We know that. So, it's going to be in those countries. They're very strict guidelines about what can be shown in many countries. So, all right. So that is The Boys. Let's talk about the fact that NBC Universal is betting big, back to the Olympics, is betting big on the Olympics to boost the streaming service Peacock. So Peacock is not doing so hot. I mean, I think that some of these legacy broadcasters had big hopes for their streamers. And you have to realize, listen, the reason Netflix does so well is because there's a variety of things on Netflix that people can choose. If they don't like this, they can watch something else. With you all you have is your stuff.
And we're used to getting it for free.
Correct. Now, they've tried some things like having some things specifically there. If you remember the series Bel-Air, which was a dramatic spin on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that was exclusively on Peacock. So you got to watch the first episode free, and then after that, you had to subscribe to Peacock. So now you put the audience in a predicament where I really don't care about anything else you have. I just like this one show. So I'm going to subscribe for the time the show is on and then drop immediately after. And this leads to churn, that thing that people don't like, where people subscribe, they watch they get what they want, and then they quit immediately after. So you don't have a constant stream of loyal consumers. It doesn't breed loyalty when you do it this way. So they're going to have to figure out something, because I don't think it's doing what it intended to do. So NBC Universal, like I said, they're really betting big on the Olympics to do something great for Peacock. Yeah. So again, Peacock launched during 2020, okay, which is the pandemic. But when the Tokyo Games finally happened the following year, NBC Universal had pivoted. So Peacock would have live coverage of certain events like gymnastics and basketball, paired with some exclusive shows. But unfortunately, they had a confusing interface. technical glitches, and that kind of messed up their plans for Peacock and the Olympics. So now they're revisiting it and seeing what it will do. So the company plans to stream everything live. So they're streaming everything live. Yeah. So if you want to watch, for example, canoe sprint or badminton live, Peacock will have it. So we'll see what the bottom line is that Peacock is meh for them, and they're trying to see if something like the Olympics can invigorate Peacock. We'll see. I think really what's going to happen is all these legacy broadcasters need to come up with a different strategy for streaming.
Yes.
They're trying to beat Netflix. Go ahead. Sorry.
Stop trying to beat Netflix. Do you well.
Absolutely. You are not Netflix. You're not going to be Netflix. They cornered the market with this because this is what they've always been. You are coming from something else, trying to be something you're not. So be who you are.
And stop trying to hold us up. Like hold the Olympics for ransom. Are you holding the Olympics for ransom? Now we got to. It's supposed to be a patriotic thing to watch the Olympics. You know what I mean? It's an American thing to do.
And we used to just watch it. Was it on ABC? The agony of defeat, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. Something was happening, but they superseded every other program to run the Olympics.
Especially during our participation, whatever we were participating in, they would show it. You know what I mean?
Right. And we knew what channel to go to.
Yes.
We watched.
And it wasn't pay-per-view.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what's happening there. We'll see what happens with that. Just a little bit more, and we will go ahead and vamoose. You all remember the show Martin from the 1990s?
Yes.
So I brought up Peacock and Fresh Prince, or Bel Air, and this kind of ties in a way, and you'll see how. So Martin Lawrence and his company Run Tell That, and I can't remember the name of the other. I'll look it up. The name of the other company, the production company involved with it, West Hill, I believe, is the name of the company. I'll look it up. But they are doing a reimagining of Martin. So they're in the works now of doing a dramatic reimagining. So rather than the comedy, they're going to do like what Bel Air did, and how Bel Air is to the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. This is a dramatic reimagining that starts. It's like an origin story of Martin Payne. Now, you know, Martin, the title character was Martin Payne. So it is a origin story of him navigating life as a teenager coming into adulthood. Takes place in Detroit, as Martin did. And yeah, so that is coming. Now, I don't have details as to when it's going to come or where it's going to be shown, but this is something that is in the works now. So tell me, I don't know if you all were Martin watchers.
But I watched it when it came out, probably reruns of it, when it, when it was happened to be on something. And it was funny. I don't know if I want to see a dramatic version.
Interesting. Yeah, I rarely did I watch it.
So, because how did that work out for Bel Air? Not too well, I don't think.
Well, no, it worked out. Bel Air had a following, but again, it was on Peacock. So I don't know. When you do things like that, so you're putting great content basically behind a paywall. And I'm not saying don't do that and don't get paid, but it was maybe the wrong paywall. Maybe that was where they could get the most money. But if you ask me, I would have approached Netflix and say, hey, because Will Smith executive produced Bel Air. I would have said, hey, I have this great idea. We're doing this. Can we? That's what I would have done. But maybe they got a good deal from Peacock, and that's what happened. But I think it was only 2 seasons before it got canceled. It wasn't, I don't think it was necessary for lack of viewership, because it was really critically acclaimed and it had folks watching. But again, when you're on a network that is like Peacock, if you get 2 seasons, you're lucky. So yeah, so I may check it out if it's anything like Bel Air was, because I think Bel Air was really well written. It was extremely well written. So if it's like that, I think it can do really well.
So I'm glad you will definitely report back and let us know. Because
yes,
I'm still not paying Peacock. I don't care.
yeah, I'm not paying Peacock either. Now I don't know where this new show is going to be. Hopefully not on a Peacock. But here's the thing. Also, putting things like this behind a paywall allows you some liberty with language, with situations that you don't have when you are on network TV.
yeah,
So that's probably another reason you have a little more, if you want to call that, creative license with what you can do. Because people have to pay to see it. And that's what I have for you today, my friends.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc. We appreciate you.
Well, we want to say thank you. Make sure you check out Dr. Tachi on indiesoupmedia.tv and also on Mediascope on Wednesdays, yes?
Yes.
Cool. And the Kenny Burns show too?
Yeah, on Wednesdays you can watch my segment Pop Gumbo, all about what's happening in pop culture, on the Kenny Burns Show Instagram account. And then we replay it on Indie Soup on Fridays.
All right. So there we have it. And if you'd like to become a part of the BizChicks community, you can do that by texting biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net. First Monday is coming up. Is that this Monday? Why am I thinking that we have August 6th?
You're muted,
We got another week.
Oh, we have another week. Okay, good. But first Monday is coming up. So look for an announcement. All of you BizChicks out there, we will be giving you an update about our next first Monday event, which is August 4th.
May I ask a quick question? Are
Sure.
you all ever going to stream First Mondays again?
Yes, but I got to get the internet connection situated.
I see.
Yeah, because in the restaurant they have what is it? They have where you can connect to their device, to their media, like their oh my gosh, TV and all that type of stuff. They have that
visual stuff.
But wherever they are located, the signal is atrocious.
Okay. So it's about getting another internet connection. I get it.
Right. Now, I could use the what is it?
Hotspot?
The restaurant across the street signal is pretty strong. across the
way, yeah.
Yeah, but we got to get a stronger signal. I did do a point of view with my glasses and stream to Instagram. It was interesting.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And that actually worked. I was like, oh, okay. So that might be a workaround. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But we want to say thank you for tuning in live and on the replay. We're here because we want to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so that you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. And we will see you next week.
Bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.